I was feeling a little lost creatively before I went on this residency, so I looked at it as an opportunity to reconnect with that playful side that's so required in the creative process. It's very easy as an artist to focus on you need to survive, so you need to sell work and that commercial aspect of art. But that juggling act between what it is you actually do, and that is, it's a communication of something internal, and it's a communication of something that can't be explained in words or any other way. So that requires a connection to something greater than will this appeal to somebody enough to be able to sell it. Sometimes a residency is just a simple breath of fresh air and a change of scene that will have benefits and effects even if you didn't pick up a pencil or take a photograph. I was first exposed to Margaret Olley, and it was on TV. It was an interview with her when I first started practicing, or seriously practicing myself. I loved the fact that she was a strong female artist that had survived in the art world for so many years. I loved the fact that she was a straight shooter and that her life seemed full of adventure and quite rich, and I saw that as such an inspiration. So I was drawn, of course, to her initially, and now I'm beginning to discover more intimately her work. Looking at Margaret's living and workspace, it's an absolute visual feast. You feel like a kid in a candy shop, that you're actually looking at this visual feast but not quite being allowed to go in and engage fully into it. For me, what's special about it is, I think earlier in her life she did a lot of travelling, and she's collected all of these treasured objects over the years, and they really each tell a story. I love the combination of practicality but aesthetic beauty at the same time. So she's got her walker and she's got pots and pans alongside some beautiful treasured artefacts that she has perhaps collected on her travels in life. I was particularly interested in the rugs and the patterning. I was particularly interested in the dried still lives and figs, fruits, those sorts of rich clusters. I love the fact that this internal world is all she needed, really, in those last years of her life, and even a little bit earlier, that she really found pleasure in the everyday objects and narratives and stories that surrounded her. And in Margaret's space, it's so rich, so full, that people really do have the opportunity to choose their own little vignette and area to look at. During a residency stay, I think that you feel very free to experiment with different media, techniques, ideas that you don't normally use or access. So that led to a series of photographs of the space then projected onto me, and then I felt like I was in some way constructing that immersion into the space. I was able to work with watercolour and gouaches and oil pastels to capture some of those little vignettes. I also was able to experiment with a little bit of landscape drawings. It's hard not to in that beautiful rolling hilled environment. I think, like Margaret Olley, I'd like to keep creating for as long as I can. I want to keep growing and developing. This is something I'm going to be doing into my 80s, and that's actually a magic thing, to have that creative purpose, that it's always going to be with me. It's always going to be a desire to create something. It's a wonderful thing.